I don't know whether it's like you're same with you, but when I'm doing my act, it's like you're playing chess. Like in your head, even though you're saying the things, you're working every move out ahead.
Yeah.
Yet no one watching there would have a clue that that's going on.
But I think that's what made touring interesting again for me. Like, so I would do this thing where I put my head down and then I start again. No, like, right, you got to make every second of this show as good as it can be.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking about every night, you're just thinking about what can I alter in this bit, pitch, hand gestures or whatever. It's really interesting how many aspects there are of everything going on.
That's what my podcast is about.
Yeah, that's why.
Is that what you lead into?
I knew we'd end up talking about the mechanics of comedy, but that's your podcast about why jokes work.
I love
what jokes work.
And there's so many tiny reasons that can go from no laugh to a big laugh.
Yeah.
Like, I've just been working on one recently and it got a little laugh, but I'm always aiming for the big laughs. So it was my favourite thing about going to the hairdressers. Okay, I'm going to do a visual thing, but I'll tell the audience what I'm doing. My favourite thing about going to hairdressers is the head massages, although some people don't like it because I don't work there. Right. So, but what I do, so when I say the head massages, I mime the head massages. And I used to stop and then do the punchline, and it would work okay. But when I continue the massage throughout, it gets a much, much bigger laugh. Yeah. And what's that about? That's mad.
It's crazy, but a lot of things like that, like something going quiet, or just changing a word. I can never quite remember what the joke was, but in Talking Cock, which I did probably 600 times, there was a joke. I thought, this just isn't going as well as I thought it should be. And I changed one word, and it wasn't even like the main word in it. Yeah. And then suddenly it would go, like, it would work the way I wanted it to work every night.
Which is why I always think that if your instincts tell you that a joke is good, you should always stick with it. Even if you put it away for a bit and come back to it. Like, I had a joke that I did in Edinburgh, my Edinburgh show this year, where I think it probably took me 4 or 5 years to get it right because I knew the wordplay was good, but it wouldn't land. And it's about wine. And I say, I went to the off license, asked a woman for some wine. She said, would you like boxed wine? I said, I've never had that before. She said, it comes with a little tap on the bottom. I said, keep your hands to yourself. Right? So the little tap on the bottom, I knew the wordplay's perfect because there's a tap on the bottom and then there is a tap on the bottom. Yeah. And then I realized that the way I used to perform it, I kind of did it upbeat, a little bit camp. It's like fun. I go, oh, keep your hands to yourself, like that. And then I realised the character in the joke, that version, knows it's a joke. Yes. Whereas when I go, keep your hands to yourself, I'm an idiot. And obviously that's funnier. Yes. But that took me 5 years to get that. But it's so satisfying when you get it right. Yeah. But it's having that instinct of knowing if the wordplay is quality wordplay or not, I think.
Well, again, I mean, the joke that I did for like 20 years, which was, I think it might have been Stu's joke originally, and I would always do it like charity things. It's about Jerry Hall cook in the bedroom, cook in the kitchen, maid in the parlour, whore in the bedroom. She used to say, and and the joke was most men prefer if you're a whore in every room of the house. And there was a bit in it where just I watched, and then Tim Vine came up to me and said, fuck, I wish I could remember it now because I haven't done. I stopped doing this joke.
Did he give you a?
But he just gave me. Suddenly gave me a little tweak in it that. That's not the advice. It was just his thing was I just had to say that's not the advice after a line, and then you got this extra massive laugh in the and you could do a joke for years and years and not spot the kind of thing.
Did it annoy you afterwards every time you did it?
No, it was I'm happy. I'm really happy to take stuff from other people. Often in that often you get someone who goes try this and you go But sometimes
I'm always open. To it. And I think if a joke is your core idea, I don't think it matters if someone helps you or tweaks it.
It just comes out. Look, this is what you're great at. It's not what I'm great at, and it's what Tim's great at, and Gary Delaney's great at. Is just coming up with these one-line jokes and being able to do a whole show. I mean, it's not quite. I watched your special, which is really entertaining. Yeah, and it's not entirely true to say that it's all quick one-line jokes.
No, I try to break it up a bit.
And what I really like about what you do, as the jokes are solid and really good, and often. There's, when you can surprise a comic with them, I think that's when you've with the sort of pullback and reveal joke, but the comic doesn't see it coming either. Yeah. That's when Booby Graffer is great at that because he would do like a punchline and then have a topper really. So you'd think you'd got to the punchline and then he would top it. And I think you do that a little bit. But what I really like is the way you'll sometimes let a joke really run on. So the setup will be much too long.
Yeah. I love those.
And creating that
They're
tension.
my favourite.
Yeah.
Where you're annoying the audience. Yeah. But the way I justify it is I've given them so many jokes that this is they can have a break. It's given them a rest from having to think about jokes. But also, my friends and I, when I started comedy, we were talking through how to put a one-liner show together, and we came up with this idea of like, what wouldn't you do? Yeah, and then do that. But like not for like, because I love, when I started comedy, I wanted to be like a surreal comic. I love all those guys, but my brain doesn't really work like that. So I don't think I'd ever be able to turn over an hour solidly of that stuff, but I can do a few things like that per show. Yeah. And they're my favourite bits. Yeah. So yeah, because I think there are 2 or 3 in that.
There's 2 or 3, but some of them are more smaller and more subtle. There's one at the end, which is when you go, I won't say what the whole joke is, but you go across 2 rows of the audience, ask them a question, and then the joke almost isn't good enough to justify it, but that's what makes it even
but if you, but I tried it, just asking a couple of people, doesn't work. No. But if you build the tension, but what also happens, I hope this is interesting if you don't know what a joke is. I could tell you a joke, it's out there now. Okay. So I ask everyone how tall they are. Yeah. And I go around one row, and at the end of the first row, I deliver it in a way I go, and on the end of the row, as if it's done. And then you get another laugh when you then start the next row. And I go all the way, how tall are you, how tall are you, how tall are you? And at the end, I say, I'm so proud of myself, used to be scared of heights, right? So stupid. But what I discovered was, if anyone breaks the tension during the bit, so say someone goes 7'5", even if it doesn't get a laugh, it's broke the tension because there's been a distraction. Yeah. And then sometimes all sorts of different things, and someone will go, come on, get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So then I just have to start another row. And sometimes I've got to like 5 rows sometimes, but then you can get comedy out of, because I would be honest with the audience, I go, okay, what's happening here is I'm meant to be building tension for the joke to be released. You keep fucking it up. And then it ends up being funnier that way. Yeah. And then it's so ridiculous at the end. Yeah. But I did do it to 170 people once. Right. Because I thought I'd test it one of the first times I did it, just to see what I could get away with. And I could not get away with that. That was too many people. But I love those bits. Yeah. And also, so if people aren't like comedy crowds, they can get annoyed at that. Whereas if they're if they're savvy, they'll trust that it's going somewhere worth going. Yeah, yeah. But I had a few, like my mate's parents came, and oh no, it wasn't for this joke. It was for the joke where I show the photos of my girlfriend. Yeah. And the point is, it has to go for a long time for the actual joke to make sense. Yeah. And their feedback to him was, I did it for too long. It's like, well, if I just did it and did there's no joke. It doesn't make sense. So. Yeah, they're my favourite.
But bits. I like it, and I think it's a really well worked show, and you've got little running jokes, and you've got callbacks and all sorts of things, and but I think also because you're so natural, there's a bit where you're talking about having a bad back at the start, and you're going to go, does he, or is it going to go somewhere, and then it doesn't seem to go anywhere, and so you think, oh well, maybe he was just being chatty, but actually it all kind of links together in the end. And it's those bits are good, and it looks like you fucked up in a couple of bits, and then that's the joke as well.
I got good at acting. The bad back. Yeah. So I don't mind giving it away now, because you should go and watch it on YouTube. Really I don't think it doesn't ruin it if you watch it on YouTube. But I fake a bad back for the whole show, and then there's a punchline at the end for it. But when I first started doing it, I would over-egg it a bit. Right. But then I realised that just a tiny, every so often, just tiny little thing, and then they're on board. And I'd get like physios afterwards annoyed at me. They'd be like, I can't believe I fall for it. This one time, the best one, this is when it worked the best, was this lovely woman came on stage with a heat pad and like lifted my shirt off and put it on my back, and I just went along with it. And then at the end, the reveal was so much better, because the initial laugh came, and then I just looked at that woman, and then he got a much bigger laugh. Yeah. It was really fun.
Well, you are very good off the cuff. There's lots of, and this is what I've seen. When we saw each other upstairs, we went, "Have we met before?" And I go, "I don't think we have." But I've seen so much. You come up on my feeds on Instagram or whatever, and TikTok all the time.
Oh, I can only apologise.
But it's good. But your act is sort of made for this, because there's enough sort of improv bits or different bits or bits that won't happen again. Yeah. Because in this special, you ask people what their hobbies are, and then you have a joke for each. Yeah. Nearly everyone. The first one you couldn't do whittling.
Whittling. Oh yeah, whittling wood. I didn't know what. I literally didn't know what that was. And then the joke, I did come up with, I think I said something like, "What joke would work?"
Oh yes, you did. I think.
But it's quite often failure is funnier.
Yeah.
But with the hobbies thing, you just can't fail on the first 2.
Yeah.
Because you have to establish that you can do the thing.
Yeah.
So if a really difficult one's come up, and sometimes people do come to the tour and try to, but I do like that because again that makes a fun clip if I can't.
Yeah, well, it's good clips, but it looks impressive, and no, to be honest, you've got obviously like a big back catalogue of materials. In a way that someone like Bob Monkhouse had all those books of jokes, didn't they?
Yeah, I love that.
And then so you literally can just.
It's one of those things as well that when I first started doing it, I had like a few jokes on hobbies, but a lot of it would be improvised.
Yes.
And then what happened is when it worked, that logs in the brain, and then it's there forever.